All right, welcome back to episode 5 of the Fitness Podcast. Today we're going to do a Diwali special. So let's take it and get started. Who wants
आप कैसी है? आप कैसी हैं?
That's Nathan, by the way, guys. Trying to speak Gujarati.
Hindi actually. ठीक है. ठीक है.
Do you remember your chronicles of learning Hindi like last year?
Yeah, that was
Talk
fun.
about like what happened there.
I think the biggest insight was that I learned that Suraj meant sun. That was probably the biggest one.
First time.
And the rest of the chronicles included just my tutor Manjit just telling me that I wasn't very good, and that if I kept practicing, I might be half good. You know how just like people from like Delhi are like just like straight up borderline rude, but honest, and it's like they're coming from like good faith. Like, no, it will tell you how it is, and I was like, I just couldn't handle it. It's like, you weren't good this week, but like maybe we'll do next week. It's fine.
That's so true, because I know that even with when we were in India, it was like they're brutally honest.
Yeah.
Like they'll just say anything they want to say. You know, obviously in the Western world, it's very much like you wouldn't say something quite harsh to someone just straight away. They would, and you're like taken back a bit. Like they'll just say anything quite blasé-ish. So it's always quite interesting. But obviously today we're gonna like discuss Diwali, and it's slightly different this year because it's lockdown. And for many, it's going to be the first ever Diwali where they're actually not meeting family, which is going to be quite crazy in that situation. So let's dive deep into like socials are still going to happen virtually. I know us Indians are quite rebel, so I do expect some aunties to be hopping on people's houses, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But let's discuss like how would someone handle Diwali, like in terms of the sweet treats, and so on as well. So let's start obviously Nate.
Yeah, I just want to also congratulate Boris Johnson for absolutely butchering the word, like the sweet gulab jambu.
What did he say?
He did like a presentation for Diwali 2020, and it came up on one of my feeds somewhere, and he was like gulab jambu, and then I just let lots of people just react. They were like, "This guy, who's writing his speech? You know, who's this guy trying to be, part of Diwali?" Anyway, I would first of all did a post about this the other day. I think the most important thing is that you don't diet on days like this. I think it's not worth the headspace, but also like the reality is these foods are super high in calories. You're playing a losing game if you want to stay in a deficit. You're looking at one gulab jambu 160 calories. Gacha is just the beautiful thing it is, but it's just it's so many calories. Samosas 200 300. By the time you got through the snacks, you're out of a deficit. So it's 1,000 calories deep, and it's not worth the headspace of beating yourself up or saying that you're not going to have it, and then you end up going, and then the auntie always says you should have some, it's Diwali, why are you not having some? You need to eat, you look skinny, and then you're like, oh, maybe I do look skinny, and then maybe I can treat myself, and then next minute you're in it anyway. So you might as well just start from the offset saying, all right, cool, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like for me, I always tell people to like just don't try to diet. There's obviously most people are going to be like, people are still going to be in plans, etc. So I'd always recommend just managing your plate. I think that's very, very important. I think a lot of people sometimes, one thing with Diwali is you kind of go for seconds and thirds quite often. And it's always the small little treats, which are 100, 200 calories quite deep. So you end up having like 4 or 5 of those and you're like, damn, already, like I said, 1,000 calories deep. So knowing your rules beforehand is going to be quite key. Like if you are going to be, like say, quote unquote deficit, you've got a photo shoot coming up in the next couple of weeks, like you don't want to mess that up by just saying, okay, cool, Diwali's going to come around next year. A photo shoot may not, let's be honest, for that specific person. So I would always go with like sticking to like a 1 plate rule going forward. And in that 1 plate, if you want to have the sweet treats, you want to have the samosa, have that, but don't overload it, is going to be my tip going forward with that.
Yeah, I love that. I was just thinking me being in a room with Nathan, he would go for that 1 plate rule and he would like fucking fill the plate. As long as it's 1 plate, right? I agree with both of you. And also maybe just checking in with yourself a little bit beforehand, and like not having the fear of missing out attitude to it, and go, cool, I know that I'm allowed to have anything I want, because I know I can have anything I want. I know that I don't have to eat all of the pieces on the plates. I can actually be quite happy to take one of each and then be happy with that. Yeah, because I can see from my own experience how I would like go into festive seasons or midsummer here in Sweden, and it really is, you know, it's a feast, and the one plate rule is fantastic. And then also, I think, depending on the person, but maybe what I would do personally is probably do some form of like intermittent fasting beforehand, knowing that I'm going to have a meal later on that's going to be way high in calories that I probably don't even need them. There is a window in the morning where I potentially don't have to eat, knowing that I'm going to fill myself up quite adequately later on. So those would be two of my strategies, I think.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I think the intermittent fasting beforehand, it's such a good, honest strategy to help you. Ideally, you would do it subconsciously, because then you're not already saying, "Oh well, I'm going to have less food in the morning," so then you encourage yourself to eat in the evening. But if you are of that persona, and I've been there many a times before, and it's more, let's call it an opportunist mentality, where you're going, okay, well, I eat less in the morning, so therefore I can eat more in the afternoon. This will be a good opportunity for you to kind of right your wrongs on, you know, having that level of like, not control, but level of understanding of what you actually need versus the opportunity to eat more. You know, there's always a diet starts Monday. There's always a Diwali only comes around once a year. There's only a, it's only a few extra this or it's a few extra that. But if you've already started your day knowing that you're going to overeat and gorge later, then you've set yourself up for a bit of a whoopsie. So when you are doing that fasting, just make sure that you do it with the mindset of like, oh, you know, it's just because I don't need breakfast now because I'm going to be full later on, as opposed to I'm saving calories for the big spike later, because then you'll have a bigger spike.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, but I think we can also that can go into like, if you're looking at the next day. Diwali is like 5 days, right? Or it's like a week. How long is it?
No, so you got Diwali, which is like a single day, and then you have like the New Year's for a lot of people. So it's like a 2-day event, effectively.
Okay.
Like
Usually there's like a couple of days or where people are going into festive mode, right? Where it's like, this is it, the moment in the year that we've been waiting for, and we're just gonna have a good time. But I think the whole thing about the intermittent fasting as well, and if looking at it like subconsciously, or maybe like if you know that you're eating yourself super full in the evening or during the day, potentially you will wake up the next day and not feel very hungry. So don't have to force yourself to have your normal breakfast just because, knowing that you're potentially then offsetting a bit like the calories that you might have overconsumed the day before. And then if it was a second event, maybe that actually would have also been that good strategy to not overdo it on the second day either.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I think for a lot of people, sometimes, like Nathan mentioned, have that mentality of, okay, let me intermittent fast, but I'm going to save like all my calories for the evening. And obviously that's probably, we've seen it can work for some people. I think for some people it can definitely work, but I think it's never the strategy to go with, because what will happen is you'll have that win from that moment, and then you'll start trying to do it for like the weeks after as well. So you'll start saying, oh, you know what, I did that last time, I could probably do it next week. And then you're constantly in that kind of restriction mode. And like I mentioned, obviously with Diwali as well, it's obviously a 2-day event. So you'll have Diwali, and then you'll also have the New Year, which is like another festive period as well, where this year is going to be interesting because, as I mentioned, we're on lockdown. So, but I do feel like people are still going to be calling each other virtually. You have like FaceTime, Zoom calls, etc. And therefore, the encouragement is still going to be the food. So this year, it's going to be interesting to see what happens generally. But I still feel like it's very similar to like what could happen in Christmas. You're still going to call up people, and you're still going to be like, yeah, let me just loosen up because it is a festive season. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Even for like my family, I'm not seeing any family members, but I know we've already got a couple of like Zoom calls planned in, and like my mom's already made some treats, and I'm like, it's just natural. I think for these guys, because they've done it for so long over their lifetime, it's just like it's natural to have these sweet treats going forward.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that from the inside scoop that I'm getting from my half family, what they're doing is they're prepping this week, and then probably today and tomorrow they're going to socially distance and exchange goods. So obviously someone's really good at making the chev. One family do the the gatia, and the other family do the sweet stuff, and and then everyone just spreads them around. So the food will be of abundance. That'll be for sure. And I think a really good tip for you to manage everything is always going to be never to over like double down on your opinion, on your thoughts. So don't double down and say, all right, diet starts Monday. Just have something that is of nicety. Find what you like, and I think it's a big question that not a lot of people know the answer to. Like, I didn't know the answer to a couple of years ago, where I was like, what do I actually like to eat on a day-to-day basis? What do I actually like from this buffet? I was actually just well mesmerized by the spread that was on. And I'm worried about, like, all of it being there, as opposed to, well, yeah, there's 25 choices on this buffet platter or whatnot, but which one is it that I do want more than another one? And Emily, we spoke about on episode 3 about you having expensive taste for chocolate, and saying that now you've chosen to eat that one as opposed to the other stuff because of what happens afterwards. But I think you need to find choices that you like, and if there's anything that you can do over this weekend, it's be introspective in your, okay, well, what part of this food do I like? What's my favorite one versus not my favorite one? Because if you're so consumed about just shovel it in because you're normally on a diet, and therefore you're having that opportunist mentality, you never realize what you actually enjoy. You just eat because you can, as opposed to what the real point of food is obviously to nourish, but also it is to taste good and is to have nice things. So it's always useful when you know what those nice things are that you like.
Yeah, and most people do know that, right? Especially Diwali, like, the treats never change on a yearly basis. Like, most people know exactly what they're going to be cooking, what treats already made, like, couple of weeks ago or that very week. As well as that, just knowing exactly that, okay, I know this year I'm going to have a bit of this. Last year I had a bit of that and it was great. My digestion was okay, whatever. And I think it's just making sure that, what Nathan said, just picking your essential, what you'd like to go with, but then managing it, and not just overindulging for the sake of just saying, it's Diwali and let me go into this YOLO mode, because ultimately it just wouldn't make sense for you. Because even it's similar to Christmas as well, right? Like, even Christmas is very, like, you choose that one day over that whole week, essentially. Like, most people obviously go for the whole week sometimes, but if you choose that one day, you're going to be all good. Whereas most people want to go, I'm going to have every single day, I'm going to have wine every single day, or I'm going to have 4 or 5 glasses because I want to relax, quote unquote.
I think it's kind of funny what you just mentioned there, though, because I just pull on my own experience for midsummer, because that's also one day of the year right here in Sweden, and it's not necessarily the same type of food, and it's a lot of actually protein based, fish based, but obviously there's a whole variety of choices that you go for, and the whole thing about choosing what you enjoy, like choosing what you like. But I always find myself taking the things I know I don't like, because I'm thinking maybe this year I will like it. It's kind of funny, but it was so fun now that you said, I'm like, that's totally me, but it obviously we're talking about like herring and stuff, like tiny pieces of fish that actually, not some of them are just pure disgusting. But I always think, it's a festive thing, it's a traditional thing, and I should maybe grow into liking it one day. Yeah, but I stopped doing the vodka shots because I definitely didn't like those. I used to drink vodka shots and like shovel in like creme fraiche, just because I hated the taste of it so much. And it would just literally be like vodka and creme fraiche for like half a day. But that's Sweden in a nutshell when it comes to like midsummer. So
yeah, basically a pina colada.
yeah, maybe like a white Russian. Yeah. So, but I think that idea is actually really good. Like, know what you like and just stick with it, And then if you want to go for seconds, then you at least, if instead of having the things that you don't like, then just go for the thing, like double up on the things that you do like instead of doing like all of it. So yeah.
100%. If you're in that phase where you actually like, okay, well, I actually don't know what I like, then the way to kind of remember potential ways to do it is, I'm going to butcher this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Someone can fact check me and prove me right in terms of the number, but I swear that, you know, the taste of food is like, you know, it's done within 2 to 3 chews. Like you get the taste of the food and that's kind of done and dusted. You know, it doesn't get any better any like 15th chew or 20th chew, but we somehow have that mindset like, oh no, the more I have of it, the better development I'll get of the taste. So, you know, it's just a flawed mentality. But what I would say is if you're gonna try stuff, just, you know, you only need 2 to 3 chews, and there's a difference between need and want, or like eyes bigger than belly. Is that you could have 2 to 3 chews and you'd be absolutely fine. But you know, we want the whole slice because we've got it on our plate now. Whereas, you know, you can try it with that mentality. It's like, okay, cool, I'll have a few different bites. It won't be that many calories. You can kind of put it back down if you don't like it. And you go through that process, and every single time you go to a social event or try a new different food, you kind of etch one up in the positive corner, or you etch one down in there, well, I'm not having that one again. And then you have that fine balance of like, well, you know, if you did see or you did go to a, let's say an Indian wedding, and you had the choice between, you know, dal and chili paneer, let's just say, keep it basic, you'd already know that you like chili paneer, so then that would make an easy choice, and then you wouldn't even have to think about the choice because you've already made it in your head, because you know exactly what you want or like.
Yeah, it's repetition, isn't it? Repetition. It doesn't change that much. Like weddings is a great example you mentioned, especially Indian weddings. You're either going to get like chicken curry, it's going to be an Indian dish, which sometimes could be like just potato based, or it's a veg dish, and then usually it's going to be like, you know, chapatis and rice. It's the same thing that you would normally have, but sometimes people just love to overindulge. I guess also that whole celebration aspect as well. Like you just completely forget about everything and you just like, yeah, it's a wedding. Let me enjoy it right now. And you also go through that potentially the whole FOMO issue, which could happen through Diwali right now, especially because no one's actually meeting each other up. But yeah, it's interesting. It's just repetition.
Line up those chicken pakoras and let's have it.
To be fair, you'd be all over them, right? Any Indian wedding.
I haven't been to one yet, and I'm super excited for next year. I think we've got maybe 5 or 6 already. I'm super excited. You know, I'm gonna obviously keep to the one plate rule, and to be honest, after we've been to the Taj Palace anyway in Mumbai, I think we got our flavour of what was needed. I know we didn't. The thing we didn't have was a Bombay sandwich.
Yeah, I've had it previously, and it's never excited me.
Now tell me about your Bombay sandwich that you mentioned to me on the audio message just a minute ago. Emily, check this one out.
It's a Kenyan special, right? So my uncles used to always do this when I was back in Kenya, and then he would have it for like breakfast, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So it'd be white bread specifically, right? And we have this thing called jevro, but you put butter on it first on the bread, and then you put the jevro on top like a sandwich, and then you'd eat it. It was so good, but I realized, like, again, I used to do this when I was like 12 years old, 11 years old and stuff, but I still remember this to this day. Like I still, like the way I said it to you in that voice, and I was like, Mike, you were like, I said pro tip, and then Nathan was like, don't eat it. I just have a voice note describing how good it is instead. And I mean, that's sometimes, like, again, mixing up the foods, and like that was just him just playing around with it like a concoction, and he was just like, yeah, let me just make this up. And then I looked at it and I was like, yeah, let me see what it is. And then boom, it's amazing. And I haven't had it since, to be honest, in a long time, maybe like over 5 years. But if I did have it today, I'll probably post it up.
Yeah, it's basically it's basically Bombay mix. You know, Bombay mix, like the mix of like the peanuts, the seasoning, the stuff that comes in a bag, and you basically just take handfuls of it, and like every handful is about 400 calories. And basically, it tastes so damn good that you put that on bread, and it's unbelievable. They had it in Kenya, something very similar in Kenya. Obviously, they have the belly. You can butcher the name of that, but it effectively is a white bun with like a potato masala, garam masala, chili powder, all of the beautiful stuff mashed into like a kind of potato patty, and then you put cheddar on the top of that, and then you put the other bun. And it's like, for some reason, the Indian culture just absolutely nail it with textures. Just unbelievable textures. Like you go soft, you bite into the bun, and then next minute there's like this crunch that you just takes you away, and then it gets hits with the spice, and it's like, oh my god, or oh bhagwan, as we would say, oh bhagwan.
But Kenyan chevro, by the way, all my Kenyan listeners right now, they're listening to it. I know they are. They know like, their chevro is the best.
100%.
Like my uncle to this day still gets his chevro delivered from Kenya.
Yeah.
Because that's how good it is. Like you can't get it from like a normal shop here. You could, but it's like it's not the same. They know it's not the same. And it's unreal. I haven't been to Kenya again. Like, but if I go Kenya and like I haven't been since 07, so I need to get back there. But when I do get back there, it's the first thing I'm probably going to be doing. That and going to the streets and getting some corn.
Oh, that is another level. That's another level. It's like it's like the equivalent of like, you know, when you go to Bali, or when we went to Bali, and you'd go on the scooter and then you'd go to and get the fruits and whatnot, or like you just go to the side of the road to get some fruit, and they'd cut like a watermelon up for you, and it'd be like 40p. It's like their equivalent of that. It's like sweet corn, cassava chips. So good. So good.
I remember when I was in Brazil, they would come up with like cheese. They literally gave you cheese sticks, and it was amazing. They grilled it like for two seconds on each side, and then you just ate it on the beach, and it was amazing. So yeah, culture.
I think cultural food is one of those that would never go with it, and that it's just a pastime, and it's just like something that you take down from generations to generations. I guess as a white boy, English person, there isn't really that much culture apart from Friday night fish and chips. That's about it. But obviously,
pie.
Pardon?
A good pie, like
yes, steak and ale pie.
Stop it.
Yeah, and you just don't get as many as anyone else does. I mean, they're not rare, but you know.
I think both of you, like for all the festive seasons, do you have different dishes for all the seasons, or is it kind of repetitive, the same things?
Like for Diwali, I can speak probably for Diwali. Like it would be specific things, like specific like treats that you would have that they'll only make during Diwali.
Okay.
It wouldn't be like during Christmas or anything like that. And I think Diwali is our biggest event. It's like our Christmas basically. So this is where you have like far more people making more food basically. And my mom's already been in the kitchen for like last 2 days, just continuously making loads of different dishes. And I know most people are doing the same thing. So I mean, Diwali is that kind of one. It's like getting ready for like your turkey and stuff. Yeah. We would have the same thing, but we would never like, again, I wouldn't hear about it until like next year with that.
I think for us I don't know. I think it could just form very similar food constructs. Like there's a protein source, there's like a meat, and then there's potatoes or veggies. Like we only have Easter. Depends on if you're religious or not. It depends on what side of the coin you sit on when it comes to the Bible. But you've obviously got Christmas and you've got Easter, and then that's really it. I mean, we don't do Hanukkahs or any type of that. I mean, birthdays, there's no specific things that you eat. I know that. What's the deal with the feeding of birthday cake on birthday?
Like everyone doing it.
Yeah. What is that? What's going on there?
You know what? I didn't know until you just said it. Right? I thought it was normal.
No, I've never fed my mum cake on a birthday.
To be honest, this is the first time. This is like a holy crap. This is like a moment in the podcast right now. I'm like, you can do that? Like, I'm just thinking you're missing out. But I don't know. I think that, like, again, this is like, holy crap. I'm blown away right now. But this is what we've always done. Where let's say someone's birthday, they'll cut a bit of the cake, and then they'll start feeding everyone, or they'll feed each other, and then it's mainly for like taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. I guess you probably had it with like Priyanka, and you're like, she's like, can you like give me some cake? And you're like, what?
No, I was like, she said, oh yeah, can you give me some cake? I say, well, you got a knife and fork there, use it yourself.
That's what I meant. Like,
it's like, what are you, an animal? Figure it up yourself.
That's hilarious.
What did your last slave die of?
That's absolutely hilarious. I'm thinking about it right now. She's just looking like, hold on, you. And then, what was your revelation to that? Like, how did you feel?
No, joking. We actually haven't done that. She's more white than I am, so.
Oh, okay. But like, that's my thing. Like, loads. Like, you'll probably get loads of messages after this. Like, what? Are you kidding me? But no, this is
like death threats. You should.
Wait, Emily, what about you?
Nah, we're like the most dull kind of people, Swedish people. Like you get lucky if you get a birthday hug.
Now, my girlfriend and their family are completely opposite.
You
Like
get
they,
for the cake. That's all you get.
yeah,
You know.
no, these guys cut cake at midnight. So we cut cake at midnight, we feed everyone, give presents, and then it's like a whole couple of day events, to be fair. So like birthdays are quite big. But even for me, I'm not like a big birthday guy anyway. I'm just like, yeah, all right, it's my birthday, cool. Message me, thank you, all right, I appreciate it. Let the day go quick because it feels weird when everyone's just messaging you, wish you all the success in the world. Or like, I'm like, well, chill out. Like, I'm still here. Like, it just feels like a weird kind of thing. And yeah, today you blow my mind, Nathan. You're like, Jesus Christ, no little birthday cake and feeding the cake.
It's so funny culture, right? Because it's like our status quo,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. This is why I love traveling, because you really just get a feel for like something that is so out of your natural. So yeah, yeah,
So that's so insane. Just thinking about it now, I'm just like, holy crap. But then,
I'm blown away.
yeah, but I reckon if Nathan's birthday, he'll get like, if you're spending with, let's say, Priyanka's family on that, like another day, I reckon there will be a period like, okay, let's cut cake and let's take a picture with you, and then we'll feed each other and then take an actual picture. I can't wait for that day because I want to see you on IG.
1000% that is happening now that I know. I'm just gonna sit there on the sofa with my mouth open. It's my birthday.
Yeah, just be like that. And then it'll just be like loads of people taking pictures and then just be like, here's cake, here's cake, here's cake. The thing is, you're trying to look. So what normally happens, people can try and view this right now, but you're trying to like feed someone and then their mouth is like trying to get open. You're not like trying to go deep in there, but you're also trying to like smile for the pictures. You're like this. And it just drops on their top. That to me is always my favorite because it's always like, if someone you don't know and they're like, oh, just feed the cake, you're just like, all right, and then you look, and then you're trying to smile and all that kind of stuff. It's hilarious. But
Victoria Sponge going everywhere.
My ex-boyfriend was actually half Indian, so I have a little bit of Indian
inside you.
inside.
you dug yourself a hole there, to be honest.
God. Yeah, no. So I remember actually the cake. I actually it slipped my mind, but when you said it, I actually remember the cake thing. So yeah,
Oh, it did happen then.
it did happen. Yeah.
Was it weird for you in that moment? Because you're like, oh,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I come from a culture where like we don't touch when we say hi, even, or like we could hug like our closest friends, but like the way we're used to a cold nation. So having strangers like feeding you is like you violating everything that I know. Like kissing on the cheek is the most awkward thing ever, even though now I've lived in the country for like, I've been traveling since I was 19, right? And but it still freaks me out to like, oh shit, which way? And it, yeah, so it's so engraved to be like a Swedish a Swedish person.
It's pretty. I mean, I agree. Like cultural differences are huge for most people. Like I just found out one with Nathan about the cake thing just today, right? Which I'm not gonna get. I'm not gonna get over, to be honest, for a while. But like, there's so many out there, but I still need to explore like more and more. I think because obviously going to India was interesting because what you mentioned about like Sweden, like it's personal space, whereas in India it's completely opposite of that. Like there is no such thing as personal space. It's just like everyone's in each other's faces. Even driving, like driving is, I still get PTSD if someone's warning. I'm like, oof, like don't do that. And I remember being in India. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. You just hear like people horning every minute, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on? But it's pretty cool to kind of hear that story, and pretty cool to obviously hear everyone's story here as well about like different cultures and especially like if it's related to Diwali as well. You know, loads of people celebrating Diwali now. Let's say if you're in an interracial relationship, all that kind of stuff. Like you're gonna be exposed to something new at the same time as well, which is really cool.
Yeah. I love it. I love even since just the dawns of traveling last year and whatnot. It's like, whilst I'm pretty standoff when it comes to like getting deep into the culture, like at the beginning, like you never know where you stand and airs and graces, and I've never really stood on airs and graces ever, so you never know if you're standing on toes of culture, or you're doing this, that, and the other. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, but going to all those places last year, going to India, Rio, all of those different places where you just see different subsets of the world and how they function and live and survive. It makes you appreciate and want to explore other ones and have them as part. Like you're meant to absorb culture, and you're meant to, you know, take that with you and then pass that through, you know, your own version of generations. And by having that knowledge and by having that, I guess, experience, you can then make what was meant to be just you doing what your parents did. It allows you to make what you want of your own and your own home environment, your own kids' environment, your own experience. Because, you know, if you only do, you know, as kids we learn from our parents, and then we learn from our environment. And let's say if you stay around with your parents all of the time, you'll only ever get that environment. Your thoughts will be, sorry, their opinions will become your thoughts. Their actions will generally become your actions, unless you work really hard to stop that. But, you know, when you go and experience other things, you get other people's input, good or bad, and then you get to formulate your own opinion because you've had so many different experiences that you can say, okay, I'm going to take this one, discard that one. You know, my mum's way of cooking chicken was crap compared to the woman that was in Delhi. I'm going to take the way that she cooked it, and then when I go to my own home or have my own flat, I'm going to cook it the way that she did because it was way better than the other time. Whereas you only layer down from your parents or your close environment if you only stay there. So I love it.
That's when, you know, the show. Have you seen it? An Idiot Abroad with Carl?
Oh yeah,
Carl
Pilkington, right?
Yeah, like the guy from Manchester. Absolutely, Emily, you should watch it. Like as soon as we finish this pod.
Glasses? Like is he a guy with glasses?
No, but that's his mate. I forgot his name now. He's like a tall dude.
I think I've seen one episode, maybe. Like it rings a bell, but I need to watch it then.
It's so good. Like, you know, we talk about like cultures and traveling. Like he is the one who kind of kickstarted everything, but he's the guy who's like, he's from Manchester, northern lad, doesn't want to go anywhere, but he's being forced to travel there and actually like go into those cultures. And he's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's just hilarious, but he's just so witty as well at the same time. And it's one of my favorite shows of all time. Like, definitely go check it out. Anyone who hasn't actually seen it, go check it out, because it actually makes you also appreciate different cultures as well. You know what we spoke about today? He's done it like maybe 10 years ago. He did it like completely 10 years ago, the whole traveling aspect. And, you know, they'll say, okay, you go to this village and spend time with them. This is how you're going to sleep. This is how you're going to do it. And he just would moan, and it's just hilarious, him moaning. Yeah, really, really good fun. But closing thoughts, any final tips regarding Diwali from both of you?
Go on, then.
Now you can go first.
Eat what you want. Enjoy it with time with family. Don't diet on Monday just because you had more, if you have more, and enjoy it. Use it for what it is and the purpose of it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd echo the last part there, which is enjoy it, because you're going to speak to people. You're going to normally would meet up with people you haven't seen in a long time. So it's very, like I said, it's very similar to Christmas, our Christmas. So enjoy it, being with family, friends, virtually, and make the most of it, basically.
Yeah, and just to really finish off with that, make it more about the people than about the food, because the experience, yes, the food is there, but the actual festiveness of everything is the love and connection that you have with the people that you're surrounded by, even if it's virtually, right? So if you can have that as like the main focus in Diwali or any festive season or birthdays or whatever, like if you make it about the people, then you're less likely to stress out about the food as well. I think, at least from my own experience in doing festive things, you know. So yeah.
I agree with that. So see you guys next week. Enjoy Diwali. Sal Mubarak to everyone out there, which is basically Happy New Year in Gujarati.
You say it again?
Sal Mubarak. Go on, say it.
Oh my god. One more time.
Sal Mubarak.
Sal Mubarak.
Yeah, there you go. Nathan?
Sal Mubarak.
No, not Mubarak.
Mubarak. Isn't that from the the Middle East? Haven't they got one in as well? Is that Eid Mubarak?
They do, like Sal. So think of Sal, like Italian name, Sal.
Sal.
And then Mubarak.
Mubarak.
There you go.
Sal Mubarak. Take it.
Everyone, enjoy your festive seasons.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.